Amoryan is the name that we give to God, the true God. The true God is made up of 4 parts. Okay? God is not a person. He's not a being like a human being. He's not really somebody alive. It's a concept. It's a concept made up of 4 parts. 4 parts of what is natural in this world, given to us by God. We give it the name Amoryan. Amoryan is simply a name for practicality, for purposes of practicality that we use to refer to the God Amoryan, to distinguish the God Amoryan from other gods that other religious organizations around the world have and use. We believe that Amoryan is the true God, made up of 4 parts: nature, logic, science, and love. Why these 4 parts? Because these 4 parts are the only thing in the world that man can't make, that are unique to us as human beings, the most unique part of nature, with the free will that we have. Nature, logic, science, and love, they come from God. And using these 4 parts of God, of the God Amoryan, we can answer any question, any doubt that we might have in this world on any subject, understanding very well what is love, science, logic, and nature. That is what makes up the God Amoryan. Nature, everything that is natural in this world, everything that God gave us for our use, for us to survive. You see, we don't need the rich. We don't need the thieves, the crooks, those that have stolen the land, those that have built factories, those that have developed the earth and taken away nature from us, the common people. We don't need them for our survival because God gave us everything: land, air, water. And the plants and animals that exist with that land, air, water is all we need to survive very well on this earth. For the food we need to construct our shelters, to live our lives sanely, healthfully, and easily, really, without being greedy. We have it. God gave it to us. But man, bad man, evil man, from the beginning of time, has stolen the land, has contaminated the air and the water, has taken away the common human being from the time they're born, their right to use land, air, and water. But this is what makes up God: nature, everything that is natural, because man did not make nature. Man did not construct nature. Man did not invent the trees, the plants, the animals. Man has stolen them for his own use, but man did not invent them. All that is natural is God. Logic. Because the logical use of the brain, you see, as a part of nature, we, human beings, are the most special and unique and different part of nature. We have what they call the free will. We can think. We have an intelligence an incredible amount of times more advanced than any other part of God's earth, which makes us a very special part of God's nature. And within that, we have the ability, some of us, to use another gift that God gave us, and that is logic. There's not a single animal, there's not a single plant, there's not a single other part of God's earth that can use logic. They are pre-programmed. Their lives are pre-programmed. They cannot make decisions. They cannot make logical decisions for themselves. The decisions of what they do is logical, but that's pre-programmed into them. We as human beings have the optional use of logic. In other words, we can do things against logic, against common sense. Common sense and logic are the same thing. In the animal world, in the plant world, they cannot do it. Logically, a plant will extend its leaves to receive the rays of the sun because it needs that for its life. Logically, it will open up the flower when it's time to open up the flower. Everything that the plant does or that an animal does has a reason, pre-programmed to do it. They're not going to do something against logic on their own accord because they do not have the free will to do that. We as human beings do. We can commit suicide. An animal, a plant cannot commit suicide. They cannot commit suicide on their own accord. Humans can. We can do crazy things, ridiculous things, things that are against our own interest, against the interest of other people, things that are not logical, because we have the free will to do that. But logic itself comes from God, is a part of what God is. And to follow that logic is following and being a part of God. Logic. Like I said, it's actually probably a very small number of human beings that can adequately use logic, which is why we have leaders, which is why we have people that are teachers. Because not everyone really can adequately use logic, human beings. Because of that free will, human beings can become easily confused from a very young age and can do illogical things from a very young age. Things that are against their own health, things that are against their own well-being. But logic is a part of God. One of the 4 parts of the concept of the God Amoryan. Science. Automobiles are not of God in and of themselves. Man-made automobiles. The automobile is a very destructive instrument. It has great potential. It also has things very destructive. It is a great hazard to the earth. Can be. But yet, the science, that automobile is made by the use of science that has come from God. Man invented the automobile, but he did not invent the science that he used to construct the automobile, or the television, or the cell phone, or the computer, or anything else. These are all products of man, not of God. They are not things of God, have no value really in the eyes of God. But it is the science that has enabled us to use these things, such as the camera that's filming me right now. It's not of God, it's of man. But the science of that camera came from God. The science that allows that camera to function came from God. Huh? So science is not something that man invented. Man, through his intelligence, has been able to interpret science, and we continue to interpret science, and we continue to learn more and more and more about the science that God gave us, how this world is made up, how it functions, why, the why behind everything, the why. Science, logic, nature. These are the things of God, and these are good. Anything of God is good. The 4th part of the concept of Amoryan, of God, is love. Why love? Because love, human love, is something that doesn't exist in the natural world. No. True human love does not exist anywhere else except amongst us humans. And this came from God. For example, we humans can love someone else for no other reason than just love, without getting anything in return. There's no animal or plant that will love or do something good for another animal or plant for no reason, just because they love that plant, their fellow plant. A dog is not going to love another dog. And dogs have sex, dogs have sexual relations, but that's not love. They are pre-programmed to have sex to reproduce. You know, they will raise their young. Monkeys will clean the lice off of other monkeys, but they're pre-programmed to do that. It's not because they love those other monkeys. Anybody that thinks that are fooled. They are not humans. They are not humans. Dogs are not human. Dogs might act like human. You say, oh, this dog loves me. The dog doesn't love you. You are giving food to that dog. You're being nice to that dog. That dog has adapted itself to the domesticated life because it feels good for that dog. But that doesn't necessarily mean that dog loves you. That dog's not going to do something necessarily for you. And I know there's millions of people that are going to disagree with me. Oh, where the dog saved his life. Oh, where the cat saved his life. No. Dogs are pre-programmed to act a certain way, to do a certain thing. Dogs can be trained by humans to become domesticated, to provide services to their human owners, to their human masters. And they will appear as though they love their human masters. They don't hate their human masters either, because an animal cannot love, nor can an animal hate. Nor love, nor hate, because they're animals. But that's another subject. I'm not going to go into that right now. Love is something, true love, that we have. We as human beings can show love for another human being that's not our family, that we don't know, that we never seen before, just for no reason, without getting anything in return. And this love, this true love of other human beings, comes from God. You know, the other day a lady was looking for work, and the lady said, no, we have no odd jobs here. But she opened up her purse and here's $1. Here's $1 to help you. She wasn't getting nothing back from that dollar. She wouldn't let me work. She wouldn't let me sweep or do anything. Anyways, I offered. She wouldn't let me. Why? And I'd never seen this woman before in my life and probably will never see her again. And there's many, many like her. Why did she just give me $1? Sometimes people stop alongside the road, and the other day a person stopped and gave me food, fried chicken. They don't know me. I didn't tell them to do that. God told them to do that. But why did they do that? That's love. That's human love for a person that you don't know. Maybe I'm a bad person. I'm not, I don't think. But they don't know that. They don't know that. God might tell them that, but they really don't know that. But yet, the human love that they have causes them to be good to other people. Just automatically, without prejudging. Not all humans. Not all humans. Unfortunately, the majority of humans do not show love. In fact, they're much more inclined to show hate. Easily, they can show hate. Something that the animal world and the plant world cannot do either. The animal and plant world cannot show hate. As they cannot show love, they cannot show hate. Humans not only have the ability to show love, they have the ability to show hate. But hate is not of God. No. Love is of God. But we can show love, we can show hate. Unfortunately, more people show hate or dislike or disinterest than show love. Because if it was the other way around, we would have a wonderful world. If it was the other way around, we would have no homeless people. How is it that human beings can take in a stray dog and can make a big deal and invest so much money in animal rights, in animal this and animal that, helping stray dogs and stuck cats in trees, but a human being sleeping under a bridge, a human being walking down the road obviously looking like he needs help or she needs help, obviously in trouble, they can't even look at, they can't even say hi to, they can't even be humane with. But oh, poor little dog, oh, terrible dog, you know. It's a dog. Yes, it's a part of God. But human beings are a much more important and much higher part of God than a dog. I'm not saying that we should mistreat dogs. Absolutely not. But we need to put priorities. Love, one of the 4 parts of the concept of God Amoryan, is something that we humans have the ability to use to become a part of what is God. That's all the discussion for today, talking about Amoryan. And other discussions that I'll be making, I'm going to dissect all of the different human rights, the Bill of Rights, the Amoryanist Bill of Rights, which is the rights that we as humans have on this earth. Something that might seem very simple, very common sense, very logical, but unfortunately, we live in an illogical nation, those that live in the United States, and it's now time to talk about basic things such as the right to walk, the right to talk, the right to work, the right to sleep, the right to live, the right to love. These are human rights, the Amoryanist Bill of Rights. We're going to be talking about those. We're going to be talking about more about logic, science, nature, and love. Peace. I am Rishayan. I love you all.